Okay, sorry about that. Like I was saying, we are officially live. Welcome to the very first episode of the MKUltra Show. Very excited to be with you, to be with all of you guys here tonight. It's going to be a great show. A lot of big stories. A lot of big stories happened over this past weekend. We've got a lot to get through. I mean, the Iran war is completely back into action, it seems. There's no sign that peace is coming soon, despite some things that Trump is saying we have meetings coming. Iran seems to disagree, and from what we can all tell, it doesn't seem that Iran or Israel are actually interested in coming into a peace deal anytime soon. On top of this, we have news from the Fishback campaign. Really exciting stuff with him. Exciting stuff going on over there. The establishment going after him hard right now, but he's doing an excellent job to combat this. I'm not going to say this guy's going to win an election by any means, but he's certainly making noise, and that's exciting. On the more concerning front, when we head over to New York, we see that the DSA has swept out the primaries. All of the Zohran Mamdani backed candidates have dominated their primary races, taking out incumbents based off of this anti Israel idea that the DSA has been able to promote recently, despite the fact that it doesn't seem to actually be something they care about all that much, but they are successfully doing a phenomenal job in tricking the people. To add on to this, also have a couple of other stories, just some more interesting things. One that I'd like to get into right away. I don't know if you guys saw this, but over at Promise Middle School, they had to recall all of their yearbooks because one of the kids snuck in a picture of the baby H man. So that's it's just hilarious. I mean, great way to keep the spirits up. The kids are doing great. Kids are doing amazing. That's what they're saying. Never black pill, because the middle schoolers are still sneaking in photos of the H man into their yearbooks. And the police are involved with like recalling these yearbooks. It's a crazy situation. It's kind of hilarious, everything that's going on over there. So that's really fun. Just, something a little bit more lighthearted before we get into the rest of this. Also, one more thing. I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a shooting in Canada the other day. Right. And it sounds like the line to this, like, this is a completely funny joke, right? Imagine this, you're right near the Pornhub headquarters. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but it's too late now. Can't take it back. We're live. But they're near the hub headquarters, and a Jew, a female cop, and an anti-feminist radical all seem to run into each other. Again, it's just the start of a punchy joke. I mean, they write themselves at this point. Our world has just become comedy. It's great. Great, keeping us smiling. But yeah, crazy situation over there. You have this anti-feminist radical who apparently starts randomly shooting out of a hotel window. Cops show up. He takes out one of the cops. The female cop goes, runs and hides. She gets scared. And then a Jewish guy comes up and tries to hide next to her and she just shoots him. The only two casualties were the cop who was shot by the suspect and the Jew. I guess you also have to include the shooter himself. He would be another casualty. But the female cop took out more civilians than the suspect himself. So it definitely says something about the current state of affairs. I mean, why do we have female cops right now? What is this? This seems like a terrible, terrible idea. They clearly are not competent enough to be able to go into these high stress situations and take care of business. I mean, sure, this situation turned out like how it did, but it's definitely just a greater commentary here about should we have female officers in the force? My vote is no. I mean, there's a reason that across all studies throughout the United States on the different police activities, we see that female cops are consistently held out of more lethal situations because everybody knows they can't handle themselves. It's incredibly evident, and we just saw another example of this here. And how long are we going to go before we stop allowing for this feminist ideology, for a DEI ideology, to come in and make our streets less safe? I mean, let's be real, the cops shouldn't be the ones shooting more civilians than the gunmen. And it also feels ironic that this is how this situation turned out because the shooter, we have his manifesto released, and from what current news reports are saying, this is a 100 plus page manifesto about anti-feminism. He was an incredible anti-feminist. massive writing about it. And then a female cop comes in and just kind of, if you prove him right, I mean, I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of that. I'm not defending shootings, of course, but yeah, yeah, crazy stuff going on in Canada, but I mean, that's what you get when you allow liberal policies to completely destroy your police force. But with all of that put aside, I want to get into tonight's headliner, the Iran war. It's back. It's back. Nobody really thought that the ceasefire would last. It just never seemed to be in the very best interests of everybody involved. So, that's hilarious, right? I don't know how people were convinced in some way that, yeah, yeah, Israel and Iran are just going to stop fighting each other and the US is going to get everything they wanted. The MOU that was originally signed by both parties, everything that it pointed towards was Iran won. They beat us back. I mean, everything that they wanted, they got out of the MOU. But it seems like they're not done. Recently, over the last few days, they have s- had missile strikes on two different cargo ships. Drone strikes, I believe, would be more accurate than missile strikes, but still, point stands. Two different cargo ships. The first one, the U.S. kind of looked aside and said, "Look, you can't do this anymore." And trade routes were opened up against the route against Oman instead of the route annexed to Iran. And then the second ship gets hit, and now the US feels that they need to retaliate because they can't allow this to happen anymore. Second ship being a Panama flagged ship that was apparently carrying over 2 million barrels of crude oil, and Iran does a drone assault against them. No casualties as far as that have been reported. Apparently, only one drone actually made contact into the ship's deck. But the US retaliates. They shoot missile strikes against 10 different unique military locations. And now everything's falling apart. Iran's saying that the US broke the MOU by doing this assault. The US is claiming that Iran broke the MOU by assaulting cargo ships. And then on the other side of this, you have Israel who refuses to back down, if you guys remember, or in case you don't know at all. Iran demanded that Israel ceases their activities in Lebanon because Lebanon right now is housing the Hezbollah reported terrorist group who are extremely anti-Israeli, and Israel's saying, no, we will not stop this assault. Israel's biggest interest here is to secure the southern border with Lebanon, so they're not stopping. Iran's upset about that. Iran's upset that we launched multiple strikes against them. The US is completely out of control in this situation where we're having our cargo ships hit. Now we're having to fire retaliatory missiles, and Iran just doesn't seem to care. And why don't they care, right? Because you'd imagine a nation smaller like Iran would see that they've won the conflict against a much greater power, and they would take what they can get and do their very best to not reinvigorate the beast. But instead, it's very clear that they don't view the US as a legitimate threat, and because of this, instead of actually ceasing their operations, they're continuing to aggravate it. Now, why do they want to do this? A couple reasons. One, they are splitting apart the US and Israel right now. They understand that the US, we're running out of time. We have our 2026 elections, and they know that Trump needs to change policy in order to ensure Republican victory in 2026, which is incredibly unlikely at this point. So Iran wants to continue to push us into continuing to engage to make the US population view Israel even less favorably. I mean, that's what this whole conflict has been to this point. It has been people waking up to everything that Israel is doing. So they are continuing this conflict to drive a wedge between the United States and Israel. They also are trying to get more out of the deal right now because every side has different interests here. Iran's biggest interest, they want to drive the wedge between the United States and Israel, as I said a couple of times now. Israel has a major interest in getting rid of the Hezbollah threat and securing the southern Lebanon border. The Lebanese don't want this. The Lebanese politicians have been trying to remove Hezbollah, but their military force is nowhere near the capabilities of the Hezbollah threat. So they are unable to do anything alone. People don't actually support this because they view Hezbollah as being the only thing that is preventing a complete takeover from the Israeli nation, and they see what's happened in Gaza, and they understand. I mean, Israel controls the southern Lebanese front, and all of a sudden, South Lebanon becomes New Gaza. And that's not something that is obviously in the interest of the Lebanese people. Then the United States' biggest interest is actually having something to show from this conflict. They need to do something big, and that big something could look something like completely getting rid of the Iranian nuclear program, but we are failing to even do that because recent Trump statements have made it very clear that he's not even interested anymore in removing their nuclear program. Instead, the deal that they're going for is just making it supervised. That's all the US can even gain out of this at this point, and it's no wonder that this war is so unfavorable among the people. I mean, we have United States or excuse me, we have United States members who are going into conflict over there, putting their lives on the line. Why? Because what? We don't want them to have a nuclear arsenal, which is reasonable. It's reasonable. I mean, I don't want Iran to have nukes, but you also have to understand that the only reason they even want a nuclear arsenal is because Israel is armed. Israel is nuclear armed, and right now Iran is trying to balance out the power. It's the same reason Iran won't get rid of Hezbollah in Lebanon, because they need this balance of power of continued pressure on Israel to ensure that they don't completely undermine everybody else in the Middle East. That's the entire point of this conflict. It's all a balance of power thing. Iran wants to be somebody who can legitimately completely compete with Israel even with their US backing. And then the US people start to wonder, why is the United States even backing Israel, right? I mean, even the nuclear program that is a major cause for this conflict that's been going on, not just currently, but over pretty much since the creation of Israel. I mean, they stole the uranium to create their nuclear program. It's all stolen. Everything about Israel is stolen from other people. Their land stolen from the Palestinians, their nuclear program stolen, everything about them. And they've always been pretty obviously anti-United States best interest. They use the US for their best interest. That's why they take down the USS Liberty. That's why we have everything with the Twin Towers and 9/11, because Israel is very, very evidently against the United States best interest. Which makes sense. They're a foreign power. They're going to do what is in their nation's best interests. And for some reason, our politicians also seem to care about their best interests over ours. But what's the future of this conflict? What's going to happen next? Well, it's remaining incredibly uncertain. Likely, we are going to have an exact continuation of what we've seen now. No full scale war. Of course, the US people would never back such a thing, but instead just trading strikes and putting off a legitimate long term peace plan for the future through continued small scale assaults. That's what both parties seem to be doing right now. And it's clear why. It's very clear why this is happening. Netanyahu, it's very, very crucial for him to not let this war end. He has massive interest in not letting it end because he needs something to show from this before his election cycle, which is coming up later this year. And what he can get out of this is securing southern Lebanon. That's his biggest prize right now. And if he can do that, maybe he can be the strong arm that Israel voted him into office to be and what he's represented over a great deal of time. It's what the Israeli people want. And then, yeah, so we have all of that going on. And then Iran just continuing it, completely continuing it. But yeah, it's unlikely that anything's going to become clear in the coming days. Unfortunately, we seem to be in a complete position where we can't trust anything at all. Our president is saying that he is planning to have a meeting with Iran officials tomorrow, is what he's reporting, while Iran officials are saying the opposite. They're saying no such meeting is planned. They are completely on completely different sides of the board right now. There is no mutual understanding going on. So something clearly has to change in this situation fast if a peace deal is going to be remotely possible. So that's certainly going to be a big deal here. Moving on, I want to tie this into what's going on in New York. Right now with New York, we have a rise in the DSA. If you don't know what the DSA is, they are the Democratic Socialist Party of America. And what they're doing in New York is somewhat incredible. I mean, obviously, I'm not a supporter of what they're doing, but you can't help but to admire it. They are completely left-wing radicals some people who really wouldn't be ideologically accepted into American society, but they've played this incredibly smart. Over the last decade or two, really, the DSA has managed to convince everybody that all of their policies are aimed anti-Israeli. That's why Zoran Mamdani won. They have managed to take all these radical policies, whether from just complete transgender care, which Zoran Mamdani announced a couple days ago, to a lack of complete border patrol. They want to get rid of ICE. They don't want any police institutions, essentially, completely defunded police institutions at the very least. So open borders, no ICE, defunded police, complete push for transgenderism. And they've managed to fundamentally make all of these things anti-Israeli, and that's how they've garnered support. And what we're seeing in New York right now, it's insane. Zohran Mamdani backs a couple of candidates for the representative spots in the Democratic primaries there. Guess what? They all win. All of them. These extremely left-wing radicals win every single race on positions that the majority don't support, but they're just running better campaigns than anybody else in the nation right now. The biggest issue on people's minds right now is Israel. We don't want any more of these pro-Israel candidates, so they were able to get rid of these long-time Democratic placeholders that had a firm grasp on their seats for a great deal of time. They were able to completely oust them just by pointing out these guys are all receiving APAC money. All of their weakness on left-wing policies, it's coming from Israel. And that's what they convinced the public, and boom, now they're in. And they're doing this across the nation now. They have recently pointed out that the New York, uh, the New York strategy, it's not just going to happen in New York. They have said that it is working on it in Wisconsin. They're going to push Colorado next. All of these things have been announced. They want to take over our entire East Coast and then push to the West. And they have potential to do it. And if they do it, that is a massive concern for people like you and me. I mean, do we want to live in crime-ridden areas? Areas where the police have absolutely no capability? Do we want immigrants flooding in? No, these are bad things for Americans, but they are running phenomenal campaigns. I mean, they have so many passionate people. They have over 30,000 people who are just going door to door constantly because they're all revolutionized. They are all completely energized, one might say. And this really highlights a major difference between the left and right wing. If you remember, after Joe Biden's presidency, what was the left wing? It was nothing. It was viewed as completely weak. They lost everywhere. Donald Trump kills Kamala Harris in the election. And at this point, Donald Trump isn't even very popular. I mean, this guy lost to Joe Biden just 4 years prior, and how bad Joe Biden was in office allowed Trump to get complete control. I mean, the House flips completely red, the Senate completely red, the Supreme Court was red. Donald Trump is in office, flipping every single county to go further red. Maybe some of them still voting blue, but they were at least pushing. It was time for the Republican Party to strike. It was time for the Republican Party to actually accomplish something. But no, we don't see that. And instead, they run something that may be worse than what Joe Biden did, even less popular with the people, and it energized the left now. We had our opportunity, we completely blew it, and now the left is not only going to take back over, they're using radicals to do it. And that's what we should have done following Joe Biden. In 2024, if we had a radical takeover, we wouldn't be in Iran right now. That wouldn't be going on. That wouldn't be an issue facing America. Border would actually be secure. Donald Trump won't even build the wall now. Wait, I don't know if you guys realize that. Donald Trump isn't even in favor of building a wall. People close to him are saying that he's not interested in building a wall because he believes that what the NHS is doing is more than enough. It's not. It's really not, because guess what? The Democrats are going to take back over, and the border is just going to be completely rushed with illegals once again. Which was a very, very short-term solution to a long-term problem. But we messed up. Now the left is energized. They also don't face the same issues that the far right faces. These far lefts, they're not losing their jobs. You want to know why? Because right-wingers aren't interested in taking away people's jobs like they are. There's just isn't the same level of passion on our side as there is on theirs. And that's why the DSA can actually take over. We don't have anything like that on the right wing. We don't have a young, energized people anywhere. Nowhere do we have a young, energized group of people. I mean, sure, we can keep pointing, oh, the young Gen Z men, they're going farther and farther to the right. Oh, they are getting completely tired of everything going on. But it just doesn't matter. We're not actually accomplishing anything. People are still scared to be openly right wing. They're still having jobs stripped away from them. The motion is moving to the left. They are winning. They are completely winning. Somebody like Mamdani should not be in office in America. It really shouldn't happen, but it only happens when the other side fails so badly that they will take anything. In fact, they want to go as extreme to the other side as possible, and that's what we had our chance to do, and we blew it because Donald Trump is incompetent. He is an incompetent leader, and that is what we've learned about him. His first go around, everything was, oh, the people working for him, they're incompetent. They're holding him back. He has Jared Kushner in. They're all holding him back. But 2024, it's going to be different, right? Whatever happened to that? Why isn't it different? It was supposed to be different, but no, no. Instead, he has some competence. There are labor-aligned people inside of the Donald Trump movement. The NHS, it's based, full of based people. It doesn't matter. Because Donald Trump's the one holding them back because he's incompetent now. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that we aren't able to actually take care of anything. But if we start to actually act, Fuentes was saying this on his show the other day. We have to take a page out of their playbook. We have to be the ones that are knocking on doors. We have to be the ones who are working in local politics and spreading. Donnie is just a mayor. He's not president. He didn't win some big election. Just a mayor. But what he represents gave way for the DSA to start looking to taking national seats, and they will. The DSA is going to win multiple national seats in the upcoming elections. This is an invigorated left wing. And the thing has been, right, vote left, show how incompetent they are. The tide will move back to the right. We'll have the ball in our court and we'll be able to play this again. DSA could mess that up, right? The DSA is so radical and they are so willing to destroy this country. I mean, multiple people who got won elections, I mean, they hate America. One of them recently comes out and says what, right? She comes out and she says, couldn't find any napkins at the restaurant, so I wiped my hands on the American flag. What is that? These people are getting into office. They hate you. They hate me. They hate our country. But it doesn't matter because the ball is in their court. They can do pretty much whatever they want. They can run whoever they want and just throw them against the wall, see what happens, see if anything sticks. And guess what? Mamdani's stuck. He's not even all that popular in New York. He is polling under 50%. But his base is so much more energetic than anybody else that they get out and vote. They go and make actual change. They are knocking on doors, getting people who don't really understand what's going on to go out and vote for the DSA candidates. It's all an energy thing. That's all this is. You don't need over 50% of the base. You need just a small portion of energetic people to go out and vocally, loudly support this and make it seem like some pro-American movement, some anti-Israel movement, when it really isn't that. Do you think the DSA actually gives a single crap about what Israel has done to America? No, of course they don't. They hate America. They really hate America. That's the difference between the left and right-wing hatred of Israel. The That's the major difference, right? The left-wing side of things, they say that they're anti-Israel, but they don't really care. They view Israel as these white colonists who went into Palestinian natives and they are exterminating the people, while the right wing sees that Israel exists as a state which uses America to its advantage, and that's why we hate them. Do you think Mamdani gives a crap about what happened to the USS Liberty? Do you think he would ever care to know that it may have been Israel who, did 9/11? Took out JFK? No, no, he doesn't care about any of that. No, that's the difference between us and them. That's why we can't come out here and be like, oh, we can out. There's a bunch of people, especially in this far right, who are like, we have to ally with all of these anti-Israelis. All of these anti-Israeli leftists. Why? Why would we potentially ally with them? They have completely different views than us. Completely different. It's a dumb class of people, really. It's really a really dumb class of people. I mean, I don't want an alliance with the Mamdani types. I don't believe in democratic socialism. It's wrong. It's bad for the nation. Just because somebody's anti-Israeli doesn't make them on the right side of history. They're just wrong about a different thing, and that's what people won't understand. But yeah, they're using the anti-Israeli playbook much better than the right wing is. They are using it to get rid of the longtime Democrats who are not actually making any motion in DC, and they're putting in young radicals who are vocally anti-Israeli and taking care of business. And the right wing just doesn't have that, and the only place we see that is going to be good old Fishback down in Florida, the Florida front. Maybe the only promising front in the United States. This is a great transition into our next major story here. James Fishback has officially announced his running mate. It'll be Sean Lozano, a former cop, to try to win over the hard on crime idea that really made DeSantis incredibly popular there over in Florida. And Fishback is running an amazing campaign, and I don't necessarily think that he's going to win. Fishback right now is polling just under 10%. But what's important is that it's essentially that he just actually can prove that we have any motion, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. We have the motion. We have to prove that we have the motion again. We can't give it to the DSA. It has to be us with the motion, right? All the motion needs to be on our side. But what Fishback needs to do is just run a legitimate campaign and prove that we can make change. Even if it's not him, he's pretty much just needs to prove that we have legitimate influence. You know, we have this extremely America First guy, somebody who has been openly Groiper aligned. He's got this hard on crime former police officer who's now his running mate. And again, he's polling under 10%, but if we can see him even hit like 25%, I mean, that would be incredibly exciting. That would be something different, right? So, yeah, we just need him to get over like 25%. Show that we have some motion still. Because it's getting embarrassing. But it seems that the establishment is legitimately afraid of what Fishback is doing, even if he is pulling low. I mean, anybody who's been paying attention, we see Fishback events, they are pulling more people to them than full-on debates with the guys who are considering the front runners, you know, the Jay Collins, the Byron Donalds, right? So, yeah. So, like I was saying though, Jay Collins recently is now trying to use the courts to get Fishback out of the election. And he is essentially claiming that Fishback isn't actually a Florida resident because he also owns property in DC. Fishback had a great response to this. I mean, he posts his driver license that he received when he was 16, and it's clearly a Florida ID. So that's great. That's great. Obviously, this isn't going to go anywhere, but if they're trying to get him off the ballot, it means that they do view him as a legitimate threat. They want to get rid of him. So even though he's polling low, his events say that maybe this guy is more popular than we think. He has all of the energy, all of it. Nobody is out there vocally supporting Byron Donalds. Nobody is vocally supporting Jay Collins outside of what? Donald Trump and the rest of the establishment? Those are the only people who are vocal about Byron. However, on the other end of things, we have Fishback, who again, he's polling massive numbers at these events. He has officially went to every single county in Florida, which he made the announcement, and he announces that he's the first Florida governor candidate to ever do this. So that's extremely exciting, right? So yeah. We have that going on, but they are clearly afraid of. They're clearly afraid of. So hopefully he can do something legitimate and show that the ball isn't entirely just in these radical court. Again, I think the boomer population, they're going to come out, they're going to vote by Rowan, and he's going to win by a legitimate margin. But hey, Fishback, you could squeeze 25, 30% of the vote, and by some miracle he wins it. I mean, that's completely changing for DC. That changes the political situation we're in completely. But what Fishback is doing, he's just running a great campaign. I mean, he's going out, he's getting out, he's going to local events, and that's what it's about. And that's why somebody like Nick is telling all of you guys to get local. Go and join your local clubs. We need to start having people who want to do the boring work, the work where you just go and meet with people, you go and talk to people. Because that's how we make legitimate change in this country. It's all we have to do. all we have to do. But yeah, we've got all that. We've got Fishback. He's running a great campaign. We'll see how that comes out. Again, the DSA, it's a massive risk to everything that we are trying to accomplish. Massive risk to the goal of actually saving America because I mean, what is this? Like why is everybody okay? Oh, voters are so dumb. Right. I mean, these people they're so dumb. Mamdani and these DSA guys, they come out and they're anti-Israel. And these voters just I'll give you all my money. Take it all. Take it all. You're anti-Israel? Yeah, yeah. You can run our country. I don't care. I don't care if you have nation destroying policies everywhere else. Why isn't the right wing learning from this? Why don't we try the anti-Israel approach? This is clearly working. It's clearly what the people want. Finally, the far right has been pushing for this forever. Left wing, it was moderate, they were doing their pro-Palestine stuff, but it was never clearly anti-Israeli. It was the far right that got us to this point. It was us that were confidently anti-Israel since the start, the ones that didn't want Jewish influence in America. In fact, we're the only ones who still don't. You think the DSA cares about Jewish influence in America? No, they hate your country. So what is this, right? I mean, the voters see that these DSA guys, they're anti-Israel, and all of a sudden, yeah, 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 take my money, take my country, take everything. Just say that you don't like Netanyahu. Say that you won't invite Netanyahu to New York, and I'll give you everything. What are we doing? We're all pro-socialist now? I mean, as far as I was aware, majority of Americans, they don't like socialism. It's ridiculous. It's insane. It's insane. How are these people so blind? You get them on one issue, and all of a sudden they're completely fine with abort. I mean, let's be real. These DSA candidates, they're going to start promoting post-birth abortions. They're almost there. They're all the way up to birth. Why don't we get post-birth with it? Yeah, I mean they're almost there. They are open the borders. Let everybody in. Let everybody in now. Now, I don't want that. Like, I'm sorry. I get you enjoy your cheap labor where you get to underpay immigrants. Personally, I don't like going to McDonald's and having them not understand me because they only speak Spanish. Like, I don't care how cheap it is. I don't want to go, hola, hola. Like, what is this? This is America. Can we speak the language? How difficult could it possibly be? But yeah, they're extremely radical, and the voters are fine with it because they're dumb, right? And that proves how easy it could be for us. Like, I get it. We are a lot more on the fringe. People are more accepting of left wing radicals because they've been putting in the work for 20 years, and the right wing radicals haven't. So we haven't managed to push the curtain at all. But if we can just like, start taking from their playbook, start with these just small local build-ups. Why can't we get a mayor? We could totally get a mayor somewhere. Just by being more energetic than the opponent. By saying we're anti-Israel, and apparently they'll forget about every other policy. It seems like that's what the voters do. So, yeah. There could be some hope with all of this, but um we we will see. We will see. Sorry. It's crazy. It's crazy to me that New York's okay with this, but it's what you get in New York when you have a bunch of people who don't want to work a job, they want to get free stuff, they hate our country. They don't give a crap about the white American. None of them do. But yeah, it's fine. They're anti-Israel, so come on in. Yeah, yeah, sure. And then yeah, finally, as we already covered, everything going in Iran. I mean, when do we get to the point where we can't trust anybody on any side? Like come on. Can we just can we trust anyone? No, no. Our president's going to be consistently lying to us. Iran, obviously, we can't trust. I mean, how are we going to have the president of the United States announcing that we are about to go and have a meeting with their officials to try to get some kind of peace deal together? And Iran's just like, no, he's lying. Like, they're playing us. They are completely playing us. How is Iran playing what's supposed to be the greatest military power in the world? Why are we investing so much into our military and we can't take care of Iran? Are you kidding me? Or, like, what is this? They're playing us. They know how little we trust our government. So when Trump comes out and says we have a meeting, they're just like, nah. It's a joke. It's a massive joke, and they're just gonna keep hitting cargo ships because what? The U.S. is going to launch a couple more missile strikes, but they know the U.S. people won't be in favor of it, and they could drag out this war until the elections completely and just get the U.S. out of the conflict. Because think about it. They see what's going on over here. They see that the candidates are all winning on these anti-Israel positions. It's a waiting game for them. They have no incentive to actually make peace because if they can wait it out and wait until the elections happen and all of the new candidates who are anti-Israel come in, they're going to be able to get a much more favorable deal, and Trump won't be able to do anything about it because he's going to lose his majority everywhere. So the US, like, we're putting in a really hard spot here. Right? Incredibly hard spot. I mean, at this point, if Iran just says, look, you can watch over our nuclear program, and that's what we'll give up on our peace deal, we'll probably give them everything else. I mean, they're going to get control over the strait. At least they'll get split control with Oman and themselves. They're going to get everything they want. More than likely, Hezbollah will not leave Lebanon. There's no way that happens. The U.S. is not going to go in and do a strike against Lebanon. In fact, the U.S. is pressuring Israel to pull out. Now, Israel and the United States relations are completely eviscerated. The entire world hates Israel. What front isn't Iran winning on? They keep going and continue forcing Israel to fight and continue to the ball in their court where they are now forced, not as forced, but obviously it's Israel. They're going to be committing human rights violations, and now the whole world hates them. They've managed to completely isolate their biggest enemy from the entire world. And the only thing Israel has had this entire time that they've existed is they've had the backing of the West, while the rest of the Middle East hasn't. So Iran, they are completely eviscerating all of these fronts. So yeah, they're doing a they've done a great job with the war, and it sucks to see because I'm a patriotic guy. I want to say "Hoorah, America! Go take out Iran." I mean, I want to be excited when we took out all their leaders, but it just doesn't mean anything because those people, they are culturally different than us. They don't back down. You can take out their leadership, but the people, it's a country that's actually built on something, and that thing is cultural hegemony as well as complete religious control. It's a Islamic radical nation. So when you take out their leader, somebody else just steps up. That's how it's going to go. You don't just get a capitulation out of them because then they become a bunch of terrorist groups, and that's what we saw when we went there and destroyed all of their nations and funded all the terrorists, and now yeah, we've got that everywhere. I mean, we're the ones that even created these guys. It was us that created that, and that might be the biggest irony of all. We're the ones that created the Islamic Republic. It was us. It was us who had our guys and the Mossad guys go and train the radical terrorists to overthrow the previous regime. So no one, so I don't. It's just ironic. It's incredibly ironic, and now the rest of the world sees how weak the U.S. is. So Iran's just going to keep pushing it until the new politicians come into office and offer them a super great deal on their part. It'll be a great deal for the Iranians, and that'll be what ends the war. And the U.S. will look weaker than it ever has in history. I mean, when was the last time that we completely got beat out? Right? This is becoming an incredibly embarrassing conflict. And it doesn't matter though, it's not like we have casualties. All of the casualties of this war are pretty much Iranian and Lebanese civilians. But it doesn't matter because they would rather just wait it out, and Iran is totally fine with their civilians dying. I mean, what are the people going to do? Rise up over this time over a war? No, the Iranians will just kill them again. They have no care for their civilians, so Israel and us can bomb their civilians into hell. They don't care. They'll let that happen. Bomb us to hell. But their viewpoint is we're going to wait it out, allow the relationship between the United States and Israel fracture even more, and finally get everything that they were going for, plus likely more at this point. So that's kind of the position that we're in with Iran right now. I really doubt that there's going to be a deal in the next 60 days, 60 to 90 days, like the MOU promised. because it's just going to be ceasefire gets broken by Iran, ceasefire gets broken by the United States, and it's going to go back and forth, and then they'll make a new deal, and then that'll get broken, and keep getting pushed off until the U.S. hand is forced into giving them a favorable hand, and that's where we're going to be at. So yeah, it's an embarrassing time. It's an incredibly embarrassing time, but that's about all I have for the major stories for today. It was a fun first show. Incredibly fun first show. Had a good time. Um, I haven't really had a chance to look at the chat, so I'll take a second, see what we have going on in here. If anybody has any questions, let me know now. I'd be happy to answer anything. But yeah, I mean, our country it's in cultural disarray. It's in complete cultural disarray. I mean, what are we going to do about it? Oh, ay, ay, ay. Pretty sure everybody in the comment section is incredibly autistic. I love it. It's beautiful. Exactly what I expect. It's exactly what I expect. Right, where do you get your sources? Yeah, you can look everywhere. It's majority a number of different news sites publishing, and then I find what they're publishing, and then I go to what their sources are, and then I try to get more facts from whatever that is. You could also just look at the official statements from the different uh leaders that are putting them out. Um, it, you just it's hard to answer that necessarily because there's so many. It's not like there's one spot, right? Not one spot anywhere. But yeah, it's a majority just what the official narrative is put out from the leaders. You can compare and contrast that. My favorite way to look at this war so far is just looking at the different ways each side is reporting it. So you can go into Lebanese media, Iranian media, the United States media, go into the Israel Times. They all report various different things, and then you can find the small places where they intersect and try to get an idea. But the issue is everybody's just lying to us all the time. There's nobody you can trust. I mean, it sucks when you can't trust your own government anymore because then anything they put out, you have no idea. And obviously, we can't trust the radicals over in Iran and Israel. So it's terrible. Um, what would you do to help end the war? Ooh, I think the best way for me to help, I'm probably just gonna like fly a plane into a tower in Iran and then leave a black box behind, and miraculously my ID will survive as a radical, and I think that's the best way we can end the war. You know? Yeah, yeah, that's how I plan to help. I'll take one out of the Israel playbook. So that's always the move. Oh, I'm not skipping you. Well, what'd you say? Yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, yeah. So I'm probably going to end it here in a minute because it's about everything I had planned out for you guys today. But thank you guys all for watching again. It was a super fun first stream. The plan is I'm going to continue doing this maybe Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. episodes. It'll be a great time. But yeah, again, thank you all for watching, and it's a great stream. Next live show, like I said, Monday through Friday. So the plan will be tomorrow. Hopefully, there's some big news breaks that we can get into. So yeah, tomorrow 8 p.m. We'll keep doing this Monday through Friday. But yeah, who's your next victim? The Jews. Yeah. And on that note, we're gonna end it. So God bless y'all. Stay safe out there, and have a great rest.